स्थिरमुकुटकुण्डल तिलकचारु उदार अङ्गविभूषणम् आजानुभुज शरचापधर सङ्ग्राम जितखर दूषणम् श्रीराम 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 इति वदति तुलसी दास शङ्कर शेषमुनिमन रञ्जनं मम हृदय कञ्जनिवास कुरु कामादि खलदल गञ्जनम् इति वदति तुलसी दास शङ्कर शेषमुनिमन रञ्जनं मम हृदय कञ्जनिवास कुरु कामादि खलदल गञ्जनम् श्रीराम श्रीराम श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालु भज मन हरन भव भय दारुणम् श्रीराम 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 जग में सच तेरो नाम, हे राम, हे राम, हे राम, हे राम, हे राम, हे राम।
Thank you, Rita ji. So there are some bhajans to start with. I'm sorry, my internet at the right time it kicked me out, so I had to log in again. And it was good, Devji's recommendation that we have a good co-host. So this is a new learning for me to keep at least a couple of people as co-host for every meeting. Abhimanyu ji, I know did you do a welcome? You did already. Okay, so I'll have a very brief introduction, which I just took it out from your website, Chinmaya website. Devji is not new to us, and both Jina ji was here in our ashram as well. We had Jina ji was born. Devji was born in Canada, but was exposed to spirituality from a very young age through Balvihar and Satsang. After completing his graduation at the University of Toronto, he's been working for several years as chartered accountant and certified internal auditor. He developed a passion to come into the Chinmaya mission through Yuva Kendra and introducing. And he is happy to meet like-minded people, and he become an active member, expressing very strong desire for our Vedanta. And under the guidance of various mentors and local acharyas, Swamini Shivapriyananda, Devji approached Swami Tejomananda about joining Vedanta course, and he joined the residential course in Trinidad under the tutelage of Swami Prakashananda and completed that joined in 2013. I know probably it's a 3-year tenure, right, to complete it. Yeah, having studied Sanskrit and Vedanta for many years now, Devji and Jinaji both are serving at Chinmaya Mission Toronto. And without much of time, I just want to pass it back to Devji for your. We want to hear the event and the agnas and the learnings for the next 4 days to go. Thank you for joining us and welcome you to our Chinmaya Mission Calgary Center. And thanks for the offer to give this yagna. Over to you, Devji.
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurudevaya Namaha. Warm welcome to everyone who's joining from all over. It is also my great pleasure to join with the Chinmaya Mission Calgary family after so much trying, as Abhimanyu ji mentioned. Special Hari Om to Abhimanyu ji and Indra Amma, Ravi ji, who've been in contact with me this whole time. And also special Hari Om to Jaya ji. And Rita ji, your singing was so beautiful. One administrative item, we ask everyone to please turn on their camera. Not their mic, camera. So then we all feel like we're in satsang together. Second administrative point, we'll share through the chat now a link, and that will, if you click that, you will get the whole Ramcharitmanas to keep for yourself. Just download it. It's a very small file, and whenever we see different shlokas over the next few days, you can just turn to the respective Doha Chaupai page and follow along if you like. So let us begin by chanting the Mangala Shlokas in Balakanda, right? That will be on page 19. Varnanam artha sanganam rasanam chandasamapi mangalanam cha kartaro vande vani vinayakau bhavani shankarau vande shraddha vishwasarupinau yabhyam vinana pashyanti Siddha Swanta Sthamishwaram Vande Bodhamayam Nityam Gurum Shankara Rupinam Yamashrito hi Vakropi Chandra Sarvatra Vandyate Nana Purana Nigamagama Sammatam Yada Ramayane Nigaditam Kvachitanyatopi Swanta Sukhaya Tulasi Raghunatha Gatha Bhashani Bandhamati Manjula Matanoti Bhashani Bandhamati Manjula Matanoti Harihi Om. Human life begins and ends with happiness. This is the main desire, object, interest, prayojana, purpose of our life. And this Ramcharitamanas, which we are going to be seeing over the next few days, drawing out life lessons from it, is well suited to help us in that pursuit. You might ask, why study Ramcharitmanas or Ramayana? And that is because a very simple reason. You can put it in a simple way. This text is tried and tested to make sorrows take flight. So when we delve into that, our sorrows also take flight. You will definitely feel for the next 4 days they'll take flight. And if you really give yourself to it, meaning to say, reflect after satsang, talk about it with everyone else, you find that they will take flight permanently. Now, what is this Ramayana? In short, it is a story of Lord Rama's life. Ayanam means abode, the place where someone dwells. Like here in our Chinmay Mission Toronto, we have our dear Swamini Shivapriyanandaji. So people ask, where does she dwell? They say the kutia there at the ashram, that is where she dwells. So if you want to find Swaminiji, you go to the kutia. In the same way, the very name of the text, Ramayana, tells you, if you want to meet Sri Ram, then he dwells here in this text. Means his glories, his nature, his darshan also can be attained through this Ramayana. Ayanam also means path. So this is the path to Sri Ram, this text. Now, it was composed when? Well, actually, it is said it was first composed in Shivji's mind, long, long before it became manifest to you and I. Then there is one Valmiki Ramayana. And then there's this Tulsi Krita Ramcharitamanas that we'll be seeing today by Goswami Tulsidas. Now, what each seer of the Ramayana has given their story of Sri Ram out in light of their own vision, with their own purpose in mind, right? And so if we're going to see Ramcharitmanas by Goswami Tulsidas, we should know with what purpose he wrote Ramayana. That itself, he explains in Balakand. He says, I listened to this Ram Katha from my guru. And my guru is very, very kind. He told it again and again and again. Now, Tulsidas is known for his Medha Shakti, his intellectual power and might. And as we see the verses, and you see Ramcharitmanas, everything is rhyming. Everything is in meter, and 11,000 verses. And there isn't one letter out of place, not even just word. The way he puts words, leaves words out, adds a letter here, changes a word, leaves out a name. It is you can do a PhD in its poetry alone. That Tulsidasji says, I could not grasp everything from my Guruji. He said it again, whatever I could grasp, I have put down in this Ramcharitmanas to the best of my understanding. Why? For what purpose? Mana prabodha jehi hoi. I'm writing this only to enlighten my own mind. And that is very instructional to us. We don't study this Ramayana for any intellectual purpose. We also study to enlighten our own mind. Like that. Okay, so this is a very brief introduction. Now, what will we be seeing? Each day or every other day, we'll try and draw out one life lesson and analyze that in detail. Because Ramayana can be studied, chaupai, doha by doha, chaupai by chaupai, or you can study topics also, right? And I think you get the best out of it when you study one chaupai at a time, word by word. But we can't do that in 4 days. So we'll see a few topics, There's a great joy in doing that also, because you can pick up a verse, shloka from here and a shloka from there and see a theme. So before we begin, let us go back to the very beginning, the root of human life, as I mentioned at the beginning, and that is the pursuit of happiness. Not only human beings are pursuing, the Shastras explain, every other living being is pursuing. Down to the little worm outside, finding a little home in the freezing cold, all the way up to Brahmaji. Everybody is pursuing only one thing, and that is happiness. We may not do the math. One boy went to a Swamiji and he said, Swamiji, I am looking to get into a great school, but they haven't responded yet, and I'm very worried. The Swamiji said, you want to get into a great school? Well, we have a school here at the ashram. You join that. He said, no, you don't understand. You're so innocent, simple in your thinking, Swamiji. I wanted it for the degree. You can't give me degree. We want degree. No problem. I know so many professors and all that. They'll give you a degree in volunteer work. They can sign also. I'll sign also. He said, that is very nice of you to try and alleviate my sorrow. But I don't think that degree will get me a job on Wall Street. Oh, so you're not worried about getting into the Ivy League school. You're worried about getting the job. But we have many jobs here. That garbage never gets taken out. You can start there. The boy said, I just don't want a job. I want a job that will pay and pay well also. So by the time in 10 years from now, I can retire. Oh, it's money you're looking for. Well, that we can offer also, We have this big endowment fund and we're looking for people to join the board of trustees. So you can sit on that board and you have this big endowment fund and you can decide where to give the donations. You'll have a lot of money at your disposal. He said, Swamiji, it's not just about having money at my disposal. I want to spend that money on myself. I want to have some things. Like what? He said, I want a nice car and a nice place to stay. He said, oh, that is all. You should have said that from the beginning. There's so many sevaks here, they drive all fancy cars. We can go on a trip, we can go down to the stay in their basement, we can go here, there. He said, no. I just don't want to drive the car. I want to have my own car and my own place so I can feel happy. He said, oh, so you're upset about the Ivy League school maybe not accepting you because eventually you're worried about getting happiness. But if you wanted happiness, just come. Ramcharitmanas is going on. So It just proves a simple point. We don't necessarily do the math, but behind every pursuit is the pursuit of happiness. Now, that is called in Sanskrit terms sukha prapti and dukkha nivritti. The seeking to gain joy, sukha, and the eschewing, running away from sorrow. They're two sides of the same coin, right? If a human being does it, and an animal does it, and an ant does it, and a worm does it, then there's really nothing special about that pursuit. The difference will be that the human being can go about it in a different way. And maybe he can get it also. See how the animals pursue joy and sorrow. When it rains, what are their choices? Run for cover, isn't it? That's all they can do. They can't necessarily build their own cover. And if they can, right, they can't build it wherever they go and take it, you know, like a yacht on the water and all that. No, it's subject to the elements. If it is too hot, they can't install an AC and chill out. If they can't find food, they can't print their own food. But we can. So see how the animal pursues joy and sorrow. Now, this is a more subtle point. They pursue it with a simple formula. That formula is, I will get more joy if I get the environment and the people, I mean, the beings and the things that give me joy. And I run away from the environments and the beings and the things that give me sorrow, right? So there are things that give joy and things that give sorrow. And I'm just going to run towards the one that gives joy and run away from the ones that give sorrow. And I'm going to do that in a world that is constantly changing. By the time you get to that joy, it has changed. That is the world. And so from the dawn to dusk, all you see and hear is animals running everywhere. Birds flying, bees buzzing, everybody crawling and on the move. Because season is changing, temperature is changing, food is being taken, predators are doing this, and the whole thing's in motion. What is their modus operandi? What does their software say? Run away from sorrow, run towards joy, right? Now, the human being, what makes him human is having the faculty of the intellect. He can plan, he can think, he can project. The poor puppy cannot calculate that when his master leaves with ticket and suitcase in hand, he is not coming back for some time. He doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know he may not come back for weeks because he's getting on a plane. He just sees master leave and he waits. Correct or not? He can't think. So the human being endowed with the thinking capacity, how does he pursue? Well, one of the benefits of that intellectual capacity is it lets us peer deeply into things in this universe. We have peered so deeply into the universe that we can split the atom and draw out essence. Anywhere we look, you know, we can make that thing yield. We looked to find out, wow, in Toronto, when you come, you'll see the Niagara Falls. Look at the force of that power. Something like 4 million cubic feet per minute going over that, I believe. Tremendous. And the roar of it. So they looked at that and said, it is nice to see, but there's so much power in there. Can we extract the power from it and therefore heat our homes? Can we look deeply into the atom and extract the energy? Can we take the coffee bean and extract the joy from that coffee bean? And then we can make coffee flavored drinks and coffee flavored candy and coffee decaffeinated coffee, and we can put it anywhere at any time. Anywhere, anytime, any corner, you can find a coffee shop. Wherever we look, that intellect can peer deeply into things and extract. How do we use that power? Now, this is the funny part. We have such a great equipment with us. We can make anything yield in the universe by applying our intellect, but we use it just like the puppy uses his. Run away from sorrow and run towards joy. That intellect can peer also into something called dharma. Dharma is a big word, and the objective of today is not to go into that whole word, but just to draw out this idea. If we apply that intellect to dharma, or that which sustains and upholds things in this universe, we can extract those principles, behaviors, actions, attitudes to create prosperity, to create joy, to create auspiciousness. That is one unique thing we can do that is never possible for animals. See, is it possible for the animals to create prosperity? At one time in Canada, there were millions and millions of bison, right? Buffalo and bison. And they had so much grass and all that kind of thing, right? Then difficult situations came. We came and removed so many of them. Now, if they have any choice, let's say, suppose we put them in a little area now, a little protected area, can they grow back their numbers by their own choice? No, they're subject to the convenience of nature. If nature makes it convenient, then they can do it. They can't bring prosperity. Then they can't make sure that life has more than enough grass for everyone, no matter what the changes might be. All the animals are subject to the changes in the environment, but the human being can create prosperity, abundance, no scarcity, can create contentment and joy. It can do this by peering into dharma. What is it that upholds this thing? How do I extract that attitude, behavior, idea and apply it somewhere else? Just like we did with the atom or the coffee bean. That is what's in the human potential. Okay. So it is never in the destiny of animals to have prosperity, to have auspiciousness, to have lasting joy. But it is possible in the destiny of the human being if they apply that intellect properly to dharma. But that is not what we do. What we do is we take this great intellectual power and we just follow the operating system of animals. Run away from sorrow and run towards joy. That's all. See, we have looked into the corn cob and figured out what is it that makes it grow and how can we grow more and how can we prevent it from disease and this and that, right? So now we it means in North America, have 80% of the world's supply of food, right? And we are less than 20% of the population, world population. And we eat and enjoy like anything. And the remaining 20% of the food is left for everyone else. So where we could apply that intellect into dharma of wealth distribution and food distribution, we don't. We follow animal rule. We have food, get as much of the joy for ourselves, and protect ourselves from having to share it with anybody. Run towards joy, run away from sorrow. And then that causes all kinds of problems. All kinds of problems. Okay. So now, what is the life lesson for today? This is all introduction. What are we going to learn from Ramayana? Ramayana is going to teach us this one important lesson. I was trying to put it in one line for everyone to make it easy to remember. What is that line? If you and I, if one remains balanced, equipoised in their vision, if one remains balanced, then there will be no obstacles to understanding dharma or applying dharma. This is the life lesson. If one remains balanced, there will be no obstacles in understanding what is dharma or in acting on dharma. Now, what will that do for me? Where there is dharma, there will be prosperity, there will be joy, there will be auspiciousness, there will be moksha, there will be the Lord. All these things come with dharma, that thing which upholds. Joy we get from junk food, but we don't get auspiciousness, right? But when there's dharma, you get joy and auspiciousness. What does auspiciousness mean? It means it gives and it doesn't take anything. It means it purifies. It means it gives benefit to everybody. That's auspicious. Okay. So the topic then today will be all about balance of mind. If we want harmony, peace, strengthening of our personality, strengthening of our family relationships, strengthening in our organization, all you need first and foremost is equipoise in your thinking, right? Now, one other point I wanted to share. The Dharma approach is totally at odds with the animal approach to gaining happiness. Animal approach, just run away from sorrow, avoid it, put it away, ignore it, stifle it, like that, and run towards joy, right? And you know, there's a funny thing about life. The more you run away from sorrow, the more it dogs your heels. And the more you run towards joy, the more it seems to evade us. Like, we're all running away from old age. But the hair goes gray. Then it goes away. One man who had gone totally bald was given a comb for his birthday, right? The joke. So he opened it and he saw it. And then he looked at that fellow who gave it to him and he says, "Thank you so much. I'll never part with it. I'll never part with it." Anyways, so the idea is that this approach of running away from sorrow, all kinds of sorrow, including old age, and running towards joy is at odds with dharma. What is the rule? What is the approach for joy when it comes to dharma? Now, this is a deeper point, right? And this is what gets us right into our topic for today. The dharmic approach to getting joy is to use that intellect to peer deeply into any situation and extract the joy, extract the auspiciousness, not to run away, not to even tremble, to, as they say, grab the situation by the horns, peer deeply into it with a balanced mind and extract the joy. Find that opportunity for auspiciousness and act on it. That is the dharmic way. Many people have practiced this. Tulsidas himself. Maybe another day we'll have time to go into how many obstacles he got when he was writing this Ramcharitamanas in Awadhi. But he had a balanced vision, and we'll study that today. And with that, he produced this text, which has lasted already for over 600 years. Sri Rama, Bhagavan Sri Ram, is the epitome of one who used balanced vision to solve all kinds of problems. Lord Krishna taught this to Arjuna. In Bhagavad Gita, balanced vision is called samatvam. Samatvam. Samatvam yoga uchyate, O Arjuna. Balance of mind, equipoise itself is called yoga. So many wonderful quotes are there. And through that knowledge, when Arjuna was able to understand, when my mind was made balanced, I was able to peer into this situation that looked like I should run away from it. And I was able to extract the auspiciousness and the joy and act on it, that opportunity, and become successful and bring joy to everyone. You might say, no, 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 you're just telling big people, I am not any big person. But a grandparent who looks with a balanced mind at his or her children, grandparents, right? Look at my children struggling so much with their children, trying to work, small family, then also come home. Let me help out a little bit. That thought comes. Then the balanced vision says, no, 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 no. I became so strong and capable because I had to do it myself. Let them do it themselves. I'll be here for advice. With that kind of balanced vision, he gives boons to society as a future generation. Balanced vision. Lady Justice, have you seen her recently? Lady Justice, she has a blindfold. She's holding a scale. Any judge has to first, if there's any chance of any conflict of interest, any bias at all towards one side or the other, they have to declare it and recuse themselves from the case, unless it cannot be resolved. In other words, everybody knows, even in jurisprudence, that unless the judge is totally balanced in their view of the facts, their judgment will not follow the law. It will not be dharmic in terms of the law. So we recognize this principle very well already. A balanced mind, a sober mind, an equipoised mind, that is the one that can create joy for everyone. So let us see a little bit now, Tulsidas Ji himself, how he demonstrates to us his balance in vision. So I'll be taking now Chaupais and Dohas from Balkand, from just after Doha 3 down to Doha 7, right? Okay. Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Rama. Jara Chetana Jaga Jiva Jata Sakala Rama Maya Jani Shri Rama Siya Rama Maya Sab Jag Jani Karao Pranama Jori Juga Pani Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Tulsidas Ji writes there, just at Doha 7, that his vision, his balance, what does he say? He says, I see inert, moving beings. This whole universe is none other than Rama Maya. They are all manifestations of Lord Ram. Later on, he says, not just Ram, Sita and Ram. Everywhere I look, I see Sita and Ram and do pranams. In other words, Tulsidas Ji has really imbibed the deep Vedantic teachings that all things participate in one existence, which is Siyaram. Now, I know that when we hear that, many people say, man, that thing is too high. I look at the world and I don't see Ram everywhere. I see Ram in my mandir. But there's another fellow, his name is, I don't know why they call him Ram, they should have called him Ravan. He won't do anything for anything, like that. Our vision is like this. But Tulsidas Ji does not just leave us hanging so that we can't reach that state. In those dohas before that, before 7, after 3, he takes us step by step all the way up to that vision. And the main point I want to bring out is that if we want to understand how this whole universe is nothing but Sri Ram, first we have to understand that how this whole universe is neutral. This is the first step to balanced understanding. Neutral? What do you mean? Neutral is what you say for a car: drive, reverse, neutral. Neutral means to say it is neither good nor it is bad. Now, Tulsidashi takes us on a journey. So let us follow that quickly. Now, seeing my time, I wanted to sing all these verses for you, but I will just tell you what is there, and we'll sing some later on, right? So what are we talking about? Samatvam, balance. What is the life lesson? If there is balance in the mind, then dharma is easy to understand and easy to follow. And if there is dharma, then I'll get all prosperity in life, right? And this is not just the teaching from Ramayana. This is also the very teaching from Bhagavad Gita. Sukha dukkham same kritva labha labhao jaya jayao. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, samatvam comes again and again. Samadukha sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. He whose mind is balanced in joy and sorrow, he's fit for moksha. So I'm not bluffing. Balance of mind is core to Bhagavad Gita also. Okay, now, in order to get that kind of balanced vision, there are 3 steps, let's say. The first step is to be able to identify what is good and what is bad. But wait a minute, you just said there's everything in neutral. Hold on, patience, eager student. Let us first see this basic point. Can you identify clearly what is good and what is not good? Now, Tulsidashi takes many pairs of opposites, but he dedicates a lot of time, several chaupais, to one unique pair of opposites between good and bad, and that is sadhu and asadhu. Who is a good person and who is a dushta purusha, wicked person? Because we know good food, bad food, high calorie, healthy, etc. We know good weather, bad. We know all kinds of, but when it comes to people, that is where we have a lot of trouble. Bad people cause us real problems. Good people who appear as bad people who appear as good. I mean, all TV shows and movies and sitcoms and everything is made on this only. People. So Tulsidashi tells, what should we define as a good person? What we should define as not a good person. Then he will tell one more, and that's what we teach the children in Bal Vihar. Such and such was a great person, be like them. Such and such is a bad person, don't be like them. But he adds another level now. Really speaking, Brahmaji has, sana is the word he uses. Like, they used to say, sani, the food, mix it all up. Brahmaji has taken his hand as though and mixed up this universe so well that in anything, in a good thing or in a bad thing, both benefit and non-benefit, good and bad are mixed in. In the sadhu, there's some dangerous aspect. In the wicked person, there is some great aspect. And in this way, everything has become neutral. Neutral like what? Just like the rose has sweet scent, beautiful petals, but thorns. Or the junk food. The junk food will kill you, but it is universally available, very, very cheap. And even in a tiny amount, it's okay. So there's good and bad in everything. That's how Brahmaji has made this world. And then he tells there at the end, it is the Mahatma who has the sadhu who really has the ability to draw out, like the Hamsa bird, the good from a bad situation and avoid the bad in a good situation. Now, I'll just spend a couple moments on this because we are going to see, after Tulsidashi describes it, we are going to see it in practice, if time allows, right? What does he say about good people? Now, you just think in your mind, who is the best person you can think of? Greatest, most sadhu-like. And now see this description. Sujana samaja sakala guna khani karao pranama saprema subhani. I do salutations. He does the salutations to all good people. Sadhu charita subha charita kapasu nirasa bisada gunamaya pala jasu. These sadhus are like cotton. He gives it a metaphor. They are like cotton, right? Well, if you say like as a simile, English teacher will be upset. They are like cotton, meaning to say they are nirasa, dry. If someone calls you dry, that is not a nice thing. It is a nice thing, you know. It means to say, if something is sticky and wet, and there's dust in the air, it all sticks to it, you know. If you have some Velcro and you leave it around for a long enough time, it becomes very messy. But if something is dry, nothing can stick to it. And a quick blow, so it means to say they're pure and detached. They are, bisada means pure only. Gunamaya, they have so many good qualities. First point about cotton, because cotton is white. But see the next point. I'll just jump down because of time, you know. Cotton, like the one I'm wearing here in this kurta, it does one thing very well. Whatever defects that are there, it covers it. It doesn't go on showing the defects of those with whom they're associated. It only brings beauty. And you know how many different ways you can embroider that cotton sari to make it look so many different nice ways. It covers the defects of others, though itself takes such a beating. First you pluck the cotton, then you have to stretch it out, then you have to make it into each one into fibers, then you have to weave that thing, and then you cut it and bend it and twist it and tie it and knot it. And then in the end, what does it do? After all that beating and suffering, it only works to cover the weaknesses of others, lift others up. This is what sadhu purusha is like. And their role in this universe, they are simple. He tells later on, they are simple-minded in the sense that they don't have any agenda. They're happy if they can help and lift others. This is sadhu. And they bring fame to themselves and joy to others. They are very rare and unique, and they are really the source of all good qualities in this universe. These are sadhus. And on the other hand now, he says, do you know what is a wicked person? He tells. And he tells a lot about them. But I'll pull out some of what I thought was my favorite. You know, wicked people have, he tells, they have a weapon of their own, just like Indra's Vajra. Vajra is the lightning bolt, and there's nothing more powerful than that. They have a Vajra of their own, and that is their words. They can use their words, you know, to pierce your heart like that. They feel burning when anyone else succeeds. It could be someone who's not even connected to them. Someone in Timbuktu, if they read in a magazine, somebody in Timbuktu is also doing well. They get upset. They have thousands of ears to hear the gossip, bad gossip about other people. They have thousands of eyes to see faults in others. They have thousands of hands to cause destruction to anyone else. You know, in summary, if you're walking and on this side you have a friend, on this side you have a wicked friend, for no reason, he'll stick out his leg and make you fall over and laugh. That is wickedness. So you have both ends of beings on this spectrum, right? So now that is very clear. Now, just now we are going to see what happens when goodness comes up against wickedness. That is why I wanted to emphasize what is what, who is who. One important point in that is that goodness is not opposed, deliberately opposed to wickedness. A good person doesn't want even a wicked person to suffer. If he does, you know how many atrocities have happened in the name of goodness? I am better than you, therefore I'll remove you. That is two versions of wickedness only. Goodness only seeks the benefit of everyone, including what the world sees as wicked. Okay, so this is first point. Then he tells, as I said before, then Brahmaji mixed everything up. And he goes on to list all kinds of pairs of opposites. This is where we have to start applying our intellect. He gives so many pairs: dukkha and sukha, papa and punya, dinarati, sadhu asadu, sujati kujati. He gives a list of pairs of opposites, and he's making the point you cannot really tell and say conclusively which one is bad and which one is good. First pair, dukkha and sukha. Tell me, which one is bad? Dukkha, what do you mean which one is bad? We all try and avoid it. Anybody came here today looking for dukkha? No, you came here thinking, in some calculation, I'm going there to get some joy. At least they'll see my face, I got the invite, I can't not show up. Right? But nobody comes for dukkha. But really speaking, when do we remember God the most? When do we grow the most? Is it not in adversity? If it wasn't for dukkha, all beings would become complacent only. So there is a good feature in dukkha that you cannot replace. No, there's no replacement for the amount of enthusiasm we have for our own benefit when there is sorrow. Nothing else works like dukkha. Then on the other side, sukha seems like the best thing, right? But there is a danger in joy. It is said that comfort comes like a friend, comes like a guest, stays to become the host, and eventually becomes the master, and we become the slave. We cannot do without our triple chocolate macchiato in the morning. Otherwise, we get angry. It started as a friend, a visit, and it became master, sukha. Like that, all things, papa and punya. Well, papa is the cause for dukkha. So you might say, no. I see nothing good in doing some pap. But really, there's something good there. When we do pap, we cannot be egoistic. When we do something wrong, we feel shame. And lajja, it's called, right? And when we feel that, we can at the same time be proud of ourselves. But the one who does a lot of good deeds, I have been a sevak for 35 years, then that pride can grow. You know what I mean? So there's danger in punya and there's benefit in pap. Day and night. Day is when we can do sadhana. Day is when the birds are singing. Day is when there's energy, but day also tires us out. Night is when we get rest. That's a good thing. But if you stay up, night is when there's confusion, wrong actions. All the gundas come out. So in both there is good and bad. Now tell, which one is better than the other? This universe cannot do without either of them. You need both of them for the universe to turn, and they both have unique features that you cannot do without. Even sadhu, and we just said sadhu is so great. All good qualities start from sadhus. And we just talked about wicked people. But do you know there's a danger in sadhus also? Beings flock to those independently happy beings, content beings, and become attached. Then when they leave, there's no pain and sorrow like that. If you've had some Swamiji come and stay at your home, when they leave, it's an earthquake in the heart. And then on the other hand, so that's the danger. It builds attachment. On the other hand, there's a great thing in great benefit to having wicked people. When they leave, they give joy. Can't wait for them to go. That's like a relaxation. They're gone. Some people give joy when they come. Some people give joy when they go. And on and on and on. Some people feel wealth is the best thing. When you have that, everything will be solved, right? But honestly speaking, people who are wealthy, they have some real sorrows that can't even match those who don't have wealth. One of them is that nobody wants to hear their problems. Honestly speaking, suppose after satsang, a few people get together in Calgary and there's a new person who comes, and that person, everybody whispers, he has $1 billion, you know, 1 billion. Then he shows up there at the coffee shop and everybody's chatting and he wants to tell his woes now. Anybody wants to hear them? What kind of woes can you have? People will say, look, right, let us trade. You take my problems and give me your $1 billion. I'll take your woes also. Correct? So imagine what it is to live a life where nobody wants to hear your problems. Nobody feels you deserve to have any problem. Or wherever you go, you get asked for donation. At least the person who is not well off, nobody asks them for, people give donation. So in everything, there is both good and bad. This kind of understanding has to really sink into the heart in order for one to practice karma yoga. If it doesn't, dharma will be very, very hard to understand and very hard to practice. And on he gives examples. So now we will see, I planned on seeing this whole next section. And I cannot do justice with it in the time we have. So what to do now? Let us think a little bit about the example of Sri Ram, right? We'll just see the example, right? We all know what happened. That Kaikeyi Ma banished her own son to the forest. That banishment was like a life sentence. Now, that is a wonderful example that the Lord has given to us, played for us, to show us how in the most difficult of situations, it is balance of mind that will solve every problem. See that situation from this context now. The pairs of opposites like hot and cold, pleasure and pain, someone can very quickly, I feel, become balanced, you know? Okay, a cold shower has never killed anyone. Let me take a cold shower, not so bad for me. Okay. The AC is broken in the car, no problem. There was a time when I didn't have AC, right? Okay, my favorite food is not there, no problem. A great chance to practice Vairagya, right? And on. But when it comes to people, meaning to say, you meet someone who is going out of their way to cause you pain and sorrow and suffering, then it is not so easy to remain balanced and to look past that and see the benefit in the situation. Now, in this case, it is not just someone going out of their way. It is a family member, not just a family member. It is your mother. And the stakes is not just my own life banishment, but it's life and death, because Dasharath Maharaj won't survive this. Life and death are the stakes. Beyond that, the whole kingdom and the Rajya is at stake. Nobody in the kingdom wanted this. The whole family can be divided over this issue. I mean, you can't make bigger stakes. In that kind of situation, to see how Sri Ram looked at it and saw that, oh, I see all the good that is there hidden in this situation, and I can act on it. If he can do it, then we can find ourselves inspired. We can also do it. If he can do it in that situation. And what is nice about this Ramcharitmanas, it is not just said that he did it. You get to hear word for word, expression by expression, line for line, what he said. So that we'll have to see next time. But that is the context. That's where we'll pick up. How is everything I told today demonstrated there by Bhagavan Sri Ram? So we'll do a little recap here. What is the life lesson? Balance of mind is what allows for us to understand and act on dharma, right? And in order to develop balance of mind, one has to first be able to know really what is good and what is not good. And then in any given situation, be able to draw out what is good. You see, generally, the way the human mind is, it spontaneously, without hesitation, sees what is not good. So suppose on this kurta, there is a little, in fact, there is a little stain, little black spot, right? Naturally, the jiva's eyes go straight to that spot. And then they draw out of that situation all those things that are not for their own benefit. They see all the faults in it and on and on. But think the other way now. Think like Sri Ram. First off, when that white color is worn in this tradition, it is supposed to remind the wearer and all those who are around them of purity. Now, 99.99% of that kurta is white. So instead of using that opportunity to reflect on purity of living, the mind goes to the dark spot. You see? In every situation, both are there, good and bad. Second point now. If someone is wearing nice clothes, and then there is a little stain in the corner, I tell you, there's going to be some good story. Correct or not? Have you been in that situation? You're wearing your best suit and tie, and then out of nowhere, something falls. If someone had just come up to you and said, "You look really good. Tell me the story about that spot." Now you've made a friend. Opportunity. Dharma. Uplift. But usually what people do, you see that? Yeah. Like that. Let's take another situation, right? These are just all examples to see how in every situation we can draw out if we have balance of mind, right? See another situation, right? Suppose you go to someone's house, and in the West Indies, they have something they call puja food. There's a set menu, 7-8 dishes. I don't know if anyone has had, right? Chana and roti and rice and different kinds of bhaji and all that kind of thing, right? Or whatever, you go to somebody's party, kitty party, and all the food is there, right? And all the food is nice, except for one dish is missing salt or missing pepper, right? Now, you have opportunities to draw out of that situation, good or bad. In that situation, the fact that it doesn't have salt is a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing we know, not to my taste. But the good thing are so many. First off, it is an opportunity to feel contented, right? There's another opportunity there also. Can you see it? Let me give you another example. You'll see the opportunity. Suppose you're there with your grandson or your own son, right? And you're feeding them. And when they're really small, how they eat. Half is on their face, half is outside of the bowl on the table, half is on the spoon, right? Just 2 bites are inside. Suppose they're watching you and you're feeding them, and then they grab some from beside the plate, along with who God knows what, and offers it to you and says, now you take a bite. What will you do? Man, we eat that as though that was prasad, correct? Now, someone has cooked all this food just for us to enjoy. At that time, we can look past juta and all kinds of things in that. At this point, we can't look past a little bit of salt missing. There's an opportunity to be fed by the Lord of the universe through this individual. And the lack of salt is actually a little addition, actually. Now, Bhagavan Ram's mind demonstrates that in his mind, spontaneously and naturally, he draws out the opportunity. And therefore, he can see what is Dharma, he can act on Dharma, he can lift everyone up. It doesn't matter what anyone does. If that mind is made balanced like that, it's not that the Lord does not see the negative side. We are not talking about positive thinking. Seeing both sides, but choosing to benefit from the real. See, take that same baby example. It's not that you don't see that food is impure a little bit because of all the other things. You see that very well, but you also see this benefit that it comes, the positive side, it comes with love. And you choose to act on that. You could have very well said, yeah, I don't want it. And that would have had another ripple effect in the universe. So you see both, but you are able to take the benefits. Anyone who can do that can really stand up to life and take it by the horns. But it is an intellectual operation. That whole operation is called viveka. Discrimination. What is good in this thing? What is bad? Please know, all things are neutral, have good and bad. And for those who have viveka, they'll make joy for themselves and joy for everyone else. But how will I get viveka? Binu satta sanga viveka na hoi, Rama kripa binu sulabhana soi. If we do not have satsang, we will never get this viveka. And we can't get satsang without the grace of the Lord. But you're all in satsang, so you have that first part, the grace of the Lord. All that is required is to apply ourselves to these teachings and be inspired again and again. You have as Guruji wrote, one nice place, you have everything with you already that you need to make this journey. Don't need anything again. In satsang, you learn that. You just learn how to use it. Tomorrow we will see how Bhagavan Sri Ram handled this situation and how it is a great, great inspiration for us. Okay, I hope you have benefited from this first life lesson, and I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. Okay, I'll say closing prayer and then pass it back to our host. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.